Hello everyone, welcome back to Royalty Soaps and welcome to September. We can finally start to post about fall soaps and fall products without feeling bad about it. Today is the launch of my Autumn Collective soap collection, and I have some announcements I'm going to get through as fast as I possibly can. Number one, we have new wax melts. All of them are autumnal scented. You're gonna love them. Number two, we still have our summer sugar scrubs available. We are not restocking them after they sell out. Three, we have up-to-date stock of our artisan soap samplers, okay? These include newer soaps. We got rid of all the old soaps. We sent them off to Eco Soap Bank. The listing description will be updated to include the names of the fragrances in the sampler pack. And of course, we will have these 5 autumnal cold processed soaps available: Mediterranean Fig, Cranberry Orange, Apple Orchard, Pumpkin and Marshmallow, and Local Honey, which is now updated, by the way, with a B stamp. If you want to get the complete autumn collection, well, we bundled it for you with free shipping in the United States. We have also enabled reviews on our website, so if you want to go leave a review for something you've already bought, we'd really appreciate it. Oh my gosh, that was so many announcements, but as you can see, we're changing some things at Royalty Soaps to make them better for you. And without further ado, let's get started making some fun melt and pour. You guys know I have been simping for melt and pour recently, okay? TikTok is on fire. The amount of melt and pour soap artists that are absolutely crushing it on TikTok makes my little heart so happy. And I really enjoyed making this video, the glass soap making, where I did a little layer of melt and pour, some cool embeds, and like a really aesthetic backdrop. They just look so good. So I want to make more of those today. I also want to make some autumnal shampoo bars using Cindapore from Stevenson. By the way, this isn't a sponsored video, but they did send me some Cindapore for free, and I really love the stuff. I want to try out some glitters from the Good Glitter. I just have lots of things I want to experiment with, and you guys typically love these types of videos, so let me go get all of my melt and pour stuff. I have my Crafter's Choice rectangle soap molds. Now, I love these. I need to wash them. You can see I've made soap in them recently, but my thing is I always want people to get a very substantial bar. So these are the molds I'm going to be using. Here is the Cindapore shampoo bar base. Maybe I could do like a pumpkin melt and pour soap with a pumpkin shampoo bar. That would be so good. And then I have all of these embeds. Look at this. So we keep any of our soap embeds that we don't use and we organize them. And so I told Caleb, bring me back any embeds that look vaguely autumnal. Okay, I say the first thing we should try to do is like a pumpkin sort of like autumnal collage where I use like lots of different embeds and we just make it like an autumn walk soap or something. Oh wait, and of course I'm gonna need fragrance oils, so let's go pick those out. I need y'all's help coming up with like a cute thing to say about having hair nets, something where it's like, wear the hairnet, don't get nasty hairs in the soap. I'm literally coming up with nothing. Okay, if you're wondering if I've had coffee or caffeine, the answer is yes. Okay, welcome to my fragrance oil selection. We have so many to choose from, and by the way, Brambleberry sent me this like a really adorable like Christmas collection. Let me go get that. Brambleberry's Winter Escape collection. Let's open it up. This should be called like Chaotic Crafting with Katie. Maybe that's our new series where I just pick up a camera and I'm like, let's make stuff. Okay, cute, wild. Okay, these are really gonna work for either fall or winter. Like, please, the wild cranberry, you know you want that for fall. Also pear is very fall. Evergreen, like walking through the Pacific Northwest. Maple almond, baked goods. Okay, we're definitely gonna use some of these. What else do we have up here? Apple pie, yes. Pumpkin sandalwood, yes. All of the making stuff has been accumulated, so let's bring in my molds that I just washed and clean off this table. Much better. Okay, these are all dry, so I'm gonna set them off to the side. And after reviewing all of my fragrance options, I have decided to go with this one for our first 20 bar batch because it doesn't discolor, which is very important. And it smells like fall to me. Like if you could just pick a smell that says fall, this is the one. So this is the one that I'm going to use. And let's do a little bit of experimenting real quick to see how I can place all of those embeds in here efficiently. Set this down, place these down. See, like, look, doesn't that just scream autumn? It's such a good blend. We've got the little pine cones, we've got the acorns, different colored pumpkins. It looks so good. The real question is, how many am I going to be able to fit into here? So let's just sort of arrange them. I bet we can get like 2 leaves, a couple of acorns, and then maybe just like 1 or 2 pumpkins, but that kind of looks like what we're going to have room for realistically if we still want to be able to see the background. I may end up replacing one of these acorns with a pine cone, but I'm also thinking about what this is going to look like molded, and I'm not sure the pine cone is like people are going to be able to tell what that is. So I think for now we're sticking with 2 pumpkins, 2 leaves, 2 acorns. Okay, I'm gonna count those out. I'm gonna lay them on my cutting board. We're gonna spritz them all, and then we're gonna heat up our first layer so that we can start getting these in the mold. Alrighty, we have our first layer mixed up with a little teeny tiny bit of fragrance, not that much, just enough to give it a bit of scent. And I'm going to proceed to pour just a little bit into each and every container. What I'm probably going to do is pour the layer and then go ahead and fill this in a little bit, because I can easily see me not being able to keep up and the melt and pour not being tacky enough to hold any of the embeds anymore. Actually, I just tested the melt and pour with my heat gun, and turns out it's still quite hot. So this will do nothing but help it cool down to the proper temperature so that I can add the embeds, but so they won't melt, because that would be a disaster. This melt and pour also stays tacky a very long amount of time, which is awesome when you're trying to add embeds. All right, gonna spritz all these, pop all those air bubbles. I always spritz very liberally. Okay, we are warm enough to hold the embeds, but not so warm that everything is gonna be nasty. And as long as just part of the embed is really, really stuck in there, I'm gonna call that good. A few extra acorns, so I went ahead and just, you know, kind of placed those randomly. Everything is pretty squishy, so now all I have to do is spritz everything one more time and get my last layer of super clear melt and pour. This is just to lock everything in. This is what the soaps look like now. I'm so excited. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'll use the triple butter base for these. I'm gonna melt some of that down. I'm gonna color it in orange and green because I think that will make it look the most like fall. And then I'm going to swirl it and pour it like that. And make sure it gets to like 110 degrees so that nothing melts and so that the marbling looks really, really good. And of course, we'll add the rest of our fragrance oil to that. Let's go ahead and make our shampoo bars now. So I'm going to melt down 50 ounces of this Stevenson Melt and Pour. That will fill about 8 cavities. And I'm going to add 1 ounce of our apple pie fragrance and ½ ounce of this apple seed oil. I'm also going to split the batch in half so we can do 2 different colors and mix them all up in the molds. It's gonna look so pretty. We are back, and look how nice these shampoo bars are. I thought I may have poured them a little bit too hot, but I think you're gonna be able to see the green and the gold all the way down. So I'm gonna try to unmold it like this, but it could be that I need to pop these into the freezer. Oh, I don't know, those look pretty good. There's still a little bit of residue, but not much. It smells absolutely divine. If you ever have a hard time unmolding the Cindapore because it is a softer melt and pour base, yeah, freezer is the way to go. So because I'm seeing a little bit of residue here, that's what I'm gonna do. But look how good these bars look. And they smell so scrumptious. And I have a bit of a failure to admit. While these may look nice initially, I did not add the embeds to hot enough melt and pour, and so around every single embed are all these little bubbles of fall crafting failure. I am so obsessed with the colors and everything. Like, I felt like everything was perfect, and then this happened. Like, no. They smell so good too, but they just, well, it just ought to show that I am still quite a bit of a noob when it comes to certain melt and pour techniques. Definitely should have done a smaller batch. I got cocky after I had such a good run last time. I should have stuck with 4 bars at a time. So let's speed through another batch and see if I can't make it a little better this time. Let's try this again, all right? Because that is just heinous. This time, I'm just adding a bunch of random little embeds. I'm not gonna make sure that they look perfect. I'm just gonna kind of throw them in there, and then, you know, we'll add some more on top of that. I decided to use cranberries this time, like anything that looked vaguely autumnal, and then I'm just gonna start shoving them all in. Because sometimes I think it's about the quantity, not necessarily about every single thing being placed perfectly. Do the same on this side. The pumpkins do have flat backs, so I am trying to make sure when those go in that they do have some semblance of being the right way. If you do one at a time, it's really easy to do. I feel like this is one of those types of projects where you almost need a friend to help you. Like if you were pouring one side and they were coming in and throwing in all the embeds behind you, this would probably go really fast. I feel like these are gonna look like exponentially better. I'm also spritzing these right before I'm adding them, which I'm hoping will lend them to being like stuck in the melt and pour a little bit better. Right, add a little bit into this one. In go the pumpkins. In go all these little cutie acorns. In go our little cranberry soap gumballs. To the next layer, I'm adding some of this pear prosecco. I went through all the other fragrances that I had picked out, but all of them discolor except this one and one other one in that 𝘊𝘀𝐻 collection. So that's why I'm going to use this, and it smells good too. Yeah, after all this hard work, I don't want anybody discoloring anything. So I'm just going to lock this in with one more little bit of the clear melt and pour. Spritz the crap out of that. I don't want any more bubbles. The last layer, I'm going to make this bronzy gold. I'm going to use this Super Sparkles bronze from Crazy Colors. For the last layer, I'm going to mix some of that super clear melt and pour with the Super Sparkles bronze. This is also from Fizz Fairy. Okay, but look how pretty this is. I'm going to wait like 5 minutes before I pour it because it's still pretty hot. All right, everything has cooled off, so I'm going to spritz once again with the rubbing alcohol. And by the way, melt and pour soap does not pour like resin. So many people have asked me, like, why do you do that with your melt and pour soap? You try to get it as close as possible. Yes, it's not self-leveling, okay? Like it sets up a lot faster than resin. I know it looks like resin, especially the super clear really can, but trust me, it doesn't, it's soap. It doesn't pour like that. So me trying to get up and close has to do with filling all the cracks so that there's no gaps and we don't end up with a bunch of air bubbles like with the last bit of soap we poured. Okay, spritz, spritz, spritz. Hopefully these turn out better. Okay, so this looks so good. Here's to hoping my big idea actually worked this time. I think that looks pretty good. Let's see. So much better. Okay, this is way more like what I had in mind, okay? Sometimes you just don't get everything right the first time. Yeah, see, that's just a lot more of like a fall hodgepodge. You can also use up more embeds doing this, and I do have so many of them. Please. And it smells amazing. That pear scent is so good. Yas. Okay. Such a notable difference here. First of all, I think having the clear background is actually really helpful. I didn't think it would matter, but it does. Here's kind of our comparison. These are growing on me a little. The air bubbles will never grow on me. I will never be okay with those. But the concept of them, I'm like, all right. This is more like what I wanted to see, and I definitely enjoy this look a lot more, especially since we're still experimenting, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's unmold these now that they've been in the freezer for a couple of hours. Probably gonna come out a lot cleaner. Yeah, you can see there's literally nothing on the edges here. There's also a really substantially sized shampoo bar. Yes, so good. I cannot wait to use these. The idea of pouring two different colors into the same mold for the 𝘗𝑠𝑖𝑛𝑑𝑒 pour, I think turned out really well. I could probably fine tune it some, like letting everything get a little bit cooler before I pour it, but in general, I think this looks really good. Okay, so what did we learn in our little impromptu crafting journey? Number one, the new Brambleberry Winter Escape fragrance oil collection is really good. I used 2 of those fragrances today and loved them both. 2, you can do a double pour of 𝘗𝑠𝑖𝑛𝑑𝑒 pour in a mold, and it looks really good. 3, if you're going to do the glass look for melt and pour, you have to make sure you drop those embeds in when the first layer is really hot. Not so hot that it melts the embeds, hot enough that it isn't making a skin on top and the melt and pour isn't grabbing your embeds. There is just such a clear difference in the finished look. This one looks like all of the melt and pour is one piece, that it's all hugging each other, that it likes all of the pieces. It's a happy family. This is dysfunctional, okay? They are literally look like they're being repelled from the body of the soap. We don't want to do that ever again. Now, I didn't make these embeds for this soap. I had them left over, as you know, but another thing that I've learned today is to watch out for overpigmentation in your embeds. Why? Because if you look really close, you can see around the edges of the red leaves that the color is starting to bleed into the melt and pour. That's because there is a lot of color in there and it's starting to migrate. So in the future, I would check and make sure that I didn't add too much color to my embeds. All in all, we've been very productive today, okay? We've really honed in the whole like glass look for melt and pour. I think I'm gonna be able to move forward with a little more confidence and definitely smaller batches in the future. We were able to chit chat about all the cool stuff that Royalty Soaps is doing today. Again, you can shop all the fun things at royaltysoaps.com, and I will see you guys in the next video. What is the next video? It is the first episode of our 2023 Secret Soap series, so I will see you guys next week. Bye for now. Ew.